conversation, consideration. These are very important words for everybody in the internet, since the internet affects us all on an emotional level. We can perceive our emotions like a cup. Each one of us has a cup inside, but we all have an endpoint. Therefore, we all have a limit of emotions we can withtake. And sometimes it just takes one extra drop for the cup to overflow. So, what happens when we're not only dealing with our emotions, but with the emotions of the whole internet? Some of us are acquainted with the term trauma dumping, but for those who aren't, trauma dumping is the sharing of detailed traumatic experiences without regards of its impact. Moreover, the information is usually unsolicited and leaves the listener feeling overwhelmed, uncomfortable, or even traumatized. This is how PhD psychologist Naomi Torres describes trauma dumping. Trauma dumping is nothing new. The problem is the scale of it. Before, trauma dumping was that one family member who had this tendency to overshare. Before it was manageable, you would say your goodbyes and try to avoid them. For you, it ends there. But for us, it never ends. Now, it's a constant. It has been industrialized, and it's everywhere on social media, and there's just no escaping it. I can't tell you when trauma dumping got into my life. It was like it was slowly woven into my day-to-day. It started with one video, but then there was more and more, to the point that when I took a step back, I realized all I was consuming on a daily basis was content ranging from suicidal thoughts to actual war experiences. And I felt tired and heavy, and like if I had no emotions left for myself. Sadly, my experience is not as bad as it gets. Research was conducted in 2020, one of the worst years for humanity. This research, backed up by BBC News, found out that trauma dumping happening on social media could regenerate a new trauma or create a completely new trauma out of the blue, a phenomenon called secondary trauma. How crazy is it that an inanimate object is using our human gift of empathy against us? Our empathy is being hijacked for the sole reason of making a profit. And it's true, we're so saturated with all of this emotional content that we have no emotions left for real life. Yes, trauma dumping. This is what is causing that our empathy is not as strong as it used to be, because all our emotions and empathy are going to our phone. A machine is controlling how we are feeling. But don't worry, there's a solution for it. Consent, conversation, consideration. You should consent to somebody who's trying to share their problems with you, and you will be agreeing to be in a conversation where your consideration will help the other person solve their issue. This is my medicine for this digital plague. Now, let's look at the other side of the story, the dumper. One of the saddest things is that this online tendency to overshare is not helping the sharer. This is because trauma dumping only gives short-term relief. This leads us to ask, who in the world is trauma dumping helping? Let me tell you, it's not the person with the trauma. It's definitely not the person being exposed to the trauma. It's the apps who are gaining a profit. The generation of revenue off of people's traumas is one of the most horribly normalized things in this day and age. So, let us protest why. Why are emotions being dumped on without our consent? Why are healthy conversations to express our emotions so rare nowadays? And why is our real-life consideration being stripped away from us?